So, Mr. Johnson, to reduce fragmentation and drive efficient collaboration between government and the private sector in cybersecurity, why would the focus not be through the individual sector-specific agencies as defined by Congress?
I think those agencies are crucial, and that's just the beginning. But I think that's the beginning of something I talked about in my opening, the unique relationship the communications sector has, in particular, with the U.S. government, going back before DHS even existed. That's the beginning of the collaboration that has to happen.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know that there's certainly a concern within industry about programs being mandated, right? And that has always been the concern of innovation being hampered and additional costs being incurred by sometimes erroneous regulations and red tape. So I know particularly with the Internet of Things and the trust mark, there's a concern amongst people within industry that the program might not be voluntary, that in the future we could see something grow. So Mr. Richardson, if you want to weigh in on that, as well as you, Mr. Johnson.
Thank you very much, and my congratulations again on the sprint. Yeah, from our organization's perspective, we're going to be bringing updates and improvements to cybersecurity regardless of what government does. It's a commitment of our members to improve the security of devices. We think the notion of voluntary versus mandatory, just by way of looking at the likelihood of more companies to adopt it and bring it into the market, you're more likely with voluntary. That's and that's been the experience, and that's what we've seen from several of our member companies. So in that sense, that's I think the basis for that point.
Okay.
And I would just add that the key here is performance and accountability. Sometimes, in some areas, a government mandate might help performance and accountability. In others, and I think this IoT security cyber trust mark example is a great example. The other one is I mentioned was the BGP internet routing scenario. There are other ways of ensuring accountability that are in some cases more powerful and most importantly faster than a government process. So I think we can do that in IoT. It's going to create the standard for IoT security when the first cyber trust mark is earned. It will. I think it's going to revolutionize the market, and it's going to make that the reasonable security for enforcement purposes, for litigation purposes, for all sorts of market purposes. And you can do it faster. Same thing on BGP and collaborating on routing security.
Okay, I appreciate that. And I want to shift back into the cloud now. So how have cyber threats changed with the shift to cloud computing and network virtualization, if at all? Should we on this committee focus on anything in particular in this space when dealing with a threat from the CCP and CCP-affiliated companies?
That's also a very long question, long answer. I think I'll try to summarize by saying that cloud capabilities and virtualized networks, for instance, the way 5G operates, it's a virtualized network. In most cases, promotes security. And that's a much longer discussion, but it creates capabilities, intelligence capabilities, including AI threat detection that can exist in a different environment. So there's a major plus side to the virtualization of networks. But it also creates new opportunities for bad actors to operate. So I think we should also always be concerned about what the CCP and its intelligence agencies and proxies are trying to do, including in cloud. And there's a lot more to say about that.
We'll have to talk offline about that.
Talk faster than
no, I appreciate it. And I'm going to open this up to our entire panel. During my time at the United States Naval War College, when I was writing my thesis, I based my approach on the fact that there is a need to create a new service academy, the United States Cyber Academy, much in the way of the Naval Academy, the Air Force Academy, West Point, et cetera. Because we are, at that time, and I don't want to age or date myself, but at that time we were about 9,700 official cyber warriors short. The concept being you can commission into military service or into federal service because, as you all know, the university system tends to gobble up our most talented young people into private sector before we have an opportunity to actually see what they can do in the federal sector. Do you support the initiation and creation of a United States Cyber Academy to address this shortfall?
I think it's a great idea to explore. I don't know if I would want to say just give an easy yes or no now, but I think that type of capability, whether it's in the existing service academies or in its own standalone, is exactly the type of thing we need.
You want to just ask a real quick yes, no?
Yeah, just
right
yeah.
down the line?
Mr. Butler?
I don't have anything specific to add to that. I mean, I think that it's really important to address the workforce gap. And there's clearly a huge need, right, for expertise across sectors, but in particular on the government side.
I'm going to take that as a yes.
I think I would echo what I've heard so far.
I think the growing maturation of Cyber Command has changed that. The times when people in the MOS would go do it and then go do something dramatically different and come back. Now, I think I would be reluctant to say break it off and have something separate. I really think that it is part of combined arms. I think you learn better doing it in the existing service academies, and I think Cyber Command changed it.
I know I'm way over my time. Thank you all, and we'll talk offline. Thank you, Chairman Ayo.